busy gossiping and googling her husband and this
I'm
and
not
that.
googling anyone. Are you? Plus, I don't hate husbands.
Your life.
You must say sweet guy. Tolerate her, but she's
Okay.
sweet.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us today. We are on the 20th of April, one day after the first phase of the election
All
2024.
new iPhone users do these three mistakes.
Suhel,
Yeah.
really, that was not cool.
Again, she's disappeared.
No, I'm here. I'm just looking for my Bluetooth thing.
It's not Bluetooth. It's Bluetooth.
And you should have done this prior to
Okay,
coming on the
whatever,
show.
Professor.
Bloody pronunciation is ugh.
Okay, here I am.
Okay, Pallavi.
Don't
Pallavi,
wait
let's
for her.
start.
Yeah, just start. You ask the questions.
Yeah, Pallavi. So what's happening? What's the buzz? I mean, sitting where I'm sitting, it looks like a really dull election. What's your take?
No, it's not dull at all. I don't think it's fair to say that because now it's getting a little exciting. Tamil Nadu and West Bengal, very high turnout. Very, very high turnout. In fact, Bengal, I'm very surprised because it was like 45 to 46 degrees.
One minute. Listen. Don't give us motherhood statements. Interpret
But I
this.
don't find it dull.
When you say high turnout, is it a good sign for the BJP? Is it a good sign for the India Alliance? Explain these things. When you're explaining things, be wise. Use sagacity, not tukkabazi. Please, thank you.
Okay, I think in Bengal it was a Kuch Bihar area, which is the BJP stronghold. High turnout. Well, the TMC certainly thinks that a high turnout works to their advantage because they are doing a lot of on the ground, and usually high turnouts also in
See, I told
a
you.
kind of anti-incumbency. Tamil Nadu high turnout could also be. Tamil Nadu, can I complete? Tamil Nadu, a high turnout could also be that the DMK was getting its cadre out. And Coimbatore time had a high turnout also means that the BJP, whether they were managing to get the people out to vote for them, but for Tamil Nadu, a high turnout, I think it is a good enough reason for the DMK to feel confident.
No, see, again, she hasn't answered the question.
And
What
what
is?
have you told us which an ordinary...
You told us that we don't already know. You're here to provide us insights. Okay, if we want to read essays, we'll read Bernard Shaw, his essay and his play. Tell us what does it mean for the BJP? Because some people think that a high turnout is bad news for the BJP. That's what some people are saying. We just want to understand.
Kuch Bihar, that's the area which went to vote yesterday. So has been the BJP stronghold. Last time they got 8 seats from there. A very high turnout, would order out and vote for them. Because last time around, they were very confident, not come out and vote. Tamil Nadu, for me, looks like high turnout, advantage DMK.
This is what happens when you just have coconut water and come back, don't do any ground research.
No, but tell me, Sandeep Ghosh and I are senior people, as are you. Should we be now? Okay, but you see, let's understand. So, yeah, Pallavi, tell us in a simple way.
Pallavi, tell us, you're talking about very binary things. Let me ask you a specific question. Okay, now in Tamil Nadu, this time it is a four-way, I wouldn't say contest, a four-way fight. Okay, BJP is a force to reckon with now. I'm not suggesting that they'll get seats. That's not what I'm asking you. Okay, there is a DMK, there is a great solidification. AIDMK still exists, but it has been decimated in many ways. And then there is the small front, which will also chip away votes. Normally, all these votes chipping away from DMK would have benefited BJP. Is any of that going to come, or all these people who are chipping away would be chipping away the non-DMK votes, and thereby BJP, whatever they get vote shares, it will not make any difference to life, and DMK and India Alliance will romp home with, as people are saying, all the same.
Tamil Nadu BJP is not a force to reckon with. That's not the right word to use. issues. It's now a contender. There was a time when BJP was never considered to be a contender, so they are in the race. And I still think picture abhi baki hai. BJP works like a woodpecker. Thoda by thoda, they keep on doing it. And maybe not this time, but next time round, I suspect their vote percentage will definitely go up. I've only traveled, to be very honest, just to Coimbatore, that too for like a little around 24 hours or so. No doubt about the fact that Annamalai has a lot of, Annamalai is what I've been told, has a lot of traction, a lot of social media traction, and a lot of young people. So he's certainly not going to be one person to be ignored. Second thing is the fact that the only solo DMK Congress rally took place in Kovai or Coimbatore. It goes on to show that the DMK is also wanting to kind of crush the BJP in the beginning and ensure that the BJP doesn't raise its head. Mamata Banerjee made that mistake the last time round where she dismissed the BJP as who cares about the BJP. But look what they've done.
Now, first of all, since you have gone silent, let me correct. It is not the only solo rally; it's the only joint rally. Solo would mean people are doing only joint rally. Now, having said that, okay. Now, please explain to us with your deep political insight.
Sandeep, let her complete. Let her complete.
1 minute.
Pallavi, keep your answers short and crisp.
Yeah, correct.
Chris,
she can't be talking for the whole program.
Yes, I've told her to keep her answer short.
So tell us, Pallavi, why do you think Narendra Modi invested such disproportionate amount of time in and money and everything in Tamil Nadu, if you're saying that they're not even a force to reckon with? And Narendra Modi is certainly not looking at, his elections in 2029.
Okay, we get it. Okay, Pallavi, are you there?
As you can see, she isn't. Even we can't see her.
Because she's there
No,
with the audio.
She ghost. She's certainly not there.
Okay. Pallavi?
There she's emerged from a prison cell.
Pallavi.
Okay, she's gone. All right. Suhel, just quickly coming to you. A very good question asked by one of our viewers, Anshuman, who's asking, is Annamalai a media sensation or a ground reality? I think this is an important question.
It's a very important question and a very good one. Sometimes what we believe is happening in India isn't actually happening in India. And to be fair, and with all due respect, whether it's a Pallavi Ghosh or a Rajdeep Sardesai or anyone, they have no clue either, because they're going armed with cameras and mics and shoving it into someone's mouth and say, what do you think? And, people are giving stupid answers. There are three issues here. Number one, would an Annamalai actually talk about poor voter turnout in an anguished manner if he felt he was romping home to victory? The answer is no. When you're winning, you don't go back and say, oh, but unless you're paving the ground for saying that even though they victimized me and played truant, I won. Number two, I totally agree with a comment that I don't know if Shandeep made or whoever made it. When you're spending the kind of money, do not imagine the same kind of result. Remember what happened in 2019. The BJP outspent the Trinamool Congress by 10:1. Trinamool Congress won. Mamata Banerjee became the chief minister. So spending money is by no means in India a yardstick for winning the elections. The other people who need to ask that is Badals. The Badals constantly spend money and they've been out of power for 2 terms already. Number three, and this is a critical point, I don't think, and I'm being honest enough about myself, I don't think we understand the engagement, the traction, and the relationship that people in Tamil Nadu have between themselves and the two principal parties, which is the DMK and the AIADMK. Those are the two parties that are the pinnacles, the epitome of political inspiration for the people of Tamil Nadu. Which is why, Advaita, very few parties, unless they are driven by SC/ST factor or whatever, have been able to make inroads. That's my belief. So don't read too much into the Annamalai factor. Just because you're interviewed so often. Pallavi Ghosh is on television every day. It doesn't make her the Christian Amanpur of India. Just like it doesn't make you the James Murdoch of the Sunday Club. See, I'm precise and I've finished.
Thank you. Pallavi, a
Because
quick
I was
question
being
to you.
interrupted by
Pallavi,
you and Sandeep. Sandeep has this habit of not even letting other people talk. So what are you
okay,
expecting
Pallavi.
me to do?
Yeah, Pallavi, very quickly, the question is Annamalai really a media sensation or is he on the ground and there is actual traction? So, quick answer.
I think it's more of a social media presence and that curiosity, it's fueled the kind of a curiosity. So people wanted to come, take his pictures and pose and all. Whether it's going to actually mean votes for him, I have my doubts about that.
My reading, Advaita, for whatever it's worth, he has created traction, and he is people, who are also anti-BJP, who are anti-BJP but not pro-DMK, by the way. They recognize that he has created traction. Today is a name to reckon with all across Tamil Nadu. And as a politician, he has arrived. Whether what will happen to him in future or not, but it still doesn't answer to me the riddle as to why. Okay, Prashant Kishore may say BJP will raise its vote share, etc. But unless they're looking at the assembly in future, why is so much energy has been spent on Tamil Nadu? There must be a method to it. Unless it's through Tamil Nadu, Modi is giving out a message to entire southern India. The point people talk about a north-south divide by putting so much investment in Tamil Nadu, giving a thing that Tamil Nadu is not away from us. We are not just a Hindi heartland party there. And they also see a connect. If you see, there has been a maximum investment for Ram Mandir with Tamil Nadu. Amount of people who are being brought to Kashi and Ram Mandir, there is that happening too. Go ahead.
I
Okay.
just want to one minute, Advaita, since I'm from Calcutta, one minute. Since I'm from Calcutta, I can only tell you one thing. These are very, very clannish, cultish regions. More clannish in the case of Bengal. Bengal doesn't want the outsider. They will co-opt you. So, if you're an Amitabh Bachchan, you will be called Bengali Jamai Babu. That is fine. But they do not want to be imposed upon. That's not in their grain. Tamil Nadu is exactly like that. And I don't think that whole Hindi controversy and, the language issue actually helped the BJP's case in Tamil Nadu. That's my perspective.
Go ahead, Professor.
Okay,
Again,
I think there are 2 points. I think what we have to look at this election is not from what happened in 2019, where there was a strong anti-Modi wave in Tamil Nadu. We have to look at it from the point of 2014. In 2014, the BJP won Kanyakumari. They were a close second in Coimbatore, in Vellore, and one more. I think it's, I forget which. Now, if you look at polling percentage, it increased in Coimbatore substantially. It's also increased in one of the Chennai constituencies substantially. Now, I have in my, I was calculating a scenario where the BJP retains what it got last time and all extra voters is basically the Annamalai effect. If that happens, they'll do very well in Kanyakumari, probably win it, and they'll probably win Coimbatore also. In Coimbatore, they were a very close second in 2014. So there has been an anomaly effect. Opinion poll after opinion poll is telling you that the number of votes that the BJP will get is very large. Where they differ is basically on the number of Lok Sabha seats that they will get. Okay, some are saying 5 to 10, some are saying 1 to 2, some are saying 0. I discount none of them. But when it comes to poll share, I think they'll get a lot more votes than they got last time. They will be not a 5% pair. I think it'll be very comfortably in the double digits, possibly close to 20%. Number two, let me come to the point where Suhel said there is that similarity between Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. However, I think what is most important is the following. You see, for a long time, the Congress did not have credibility in West Bengal because the local Pradesh committee had no traction. Whoever Rahul Gandhi or Mrs. Gandhi would put on the top, that person would be the leader and was not seen to be a grassroots man from Bengal. As long as that prevails, both in Bengal as well as in Tamil Nadu, When it comes to assembly elections, the BJP will be at a disadvantage. But when it comes to Lok Sabha elections, I think the matter is different. Then national issues take salience, and at least in Bengal, whoever is an outsider or an insider will not matter. But I think in Tamil Nadu there has been an Annamalai effect. It will be seen when it comes to vote share. In seat share, I think the best the BJP can vote for is 2 to 3 seats maximum. I'm not too sure they're going to get more than that.
But I think, Advaita, the question that needs to be asked is, in all of this, there are two major issues. One is you have a very long, protracted election process. And as Chidambaram himself rightly said, you have this whole stupid model code of conduct in force until the last polling day. So will this be tiresome? Number two, I have advised Vajpayee's camp on Vajpayee. I did the Hum Abhi Atal Hain, then I did Bhagidari for Sheila Dikshit. The one thing I've seen from a politically strategic perspective is when people don't go out and vote for two reasons. One is when they know who's going to be coming in, and number two, if they believe that agar jayenge bhi kuch hoga hai nahi. People only vote out of anger. I've often said this publicly, in India, no one wins an election. People lose it. So we need to figure out here on the Sunday Club, what could the dynamics of a protracted election process be and who will it harm?
May I just come in, Advaita, for 2 minutes? My analytical sense is showing something that having come so close to the heels of the assembly elections where BJP had a resounding victory, and people almost assuming that Narendra Modi is coming back, will come back. This election has been translated in many parts of the country into to local elections and local issues. And that's because the regional parties, they have, willy-nilly, they have abandoned this India alliance. They've all decided that they have to fend for themselves, and they have to fend for themselves, like I said on the show earlier, that Congress has the luxury of relaunching Rahul Gandhi for the next 50 years. But these people, the regional parties, they can't relaunch themselves time and again, and they have to secure the future of their progenies. And therefore, they have converted a lot of these elections into local issues. So unlike, for example, sitting here in West Bengal, I think unlike in 2019, a lot of the voting will happen on people's assessment of what is going to affect Bengal in the next 5 years. And this would be true for many other states. If in Tamil Nadu today, if DMK is holding so strong, it is not because of Modi versus DMK or North versus South. It is also the assertion of Tamil Nadu people that DMK is going to rule there, and this is going to be you'll see this happening in this protracted election. Some of them, don't get it wrong. Some of the regional parties are getting their act together. Maharashtra, you'll see what's happening. Maharashtra, I think MBA is not a write-off.
Okay, Suhel, coming to you, I want to. We've spoken about the South and West Bengal, where the turnout has been visibly better, but in the North, especially in Bihar, there has been a drop in turnout. There seems to be a sort of lethargy, one can say, or apathy, if we want to be harsher, about this election. Is it Modi fatigue, or is it the fact that everyone assumes Modi is coming back? So what's the point throwing in the hat? What do you think is going on?
Two or three things to my mind. And if I say this, you will think it's too banal, but it's true. People don't want to undergo a lot of pain for voting because they don't believe that vote matters. And the weather does play its role. It is ridiculous to have polling in such high temperatures. You've seen even the candidates have been complaining. That could well be an issue. Number two is that the choices of one versus the other are so poor, people say to hell with it, jisne aana hai aao. Number three is actually take the questions or the issues that both Shundeep and Dipankar raised and flip them. It is not a local election. So do they really give a toss? They don't care. Because please understand, they've seen that in the last 10 years, with Modi being at the center, nothing has happened. a point which Tejashwi Yadav has made over and over again. So they actually believe कि हमारी किस्मत तो local leaders के साथ है, तो हम assembly election में जो करना है करेंगे. Why should we actually go out and vote now? I don't think there's Modi fatigue. There's election fatigue in this country. That's why this one nation, one election has to happen. It is electoral fatigue, it is emotional fatigue, and it is monetary fatigue.
Right, and then there's a flip side to that argument, or rather, the kind of conjecture that's going on, Professor, is that this could be 2004 redux, where Prime Minister Modi is definitely the first. I won't even follow that up amongst equals, because there is nobody really who can stand or is standing in front of him as an alternative. So do you think there's a tendency to feel that, well, aayega to Modi hi, so it's okay, we're fine,
Look,
we're cool?
Look, I think the sample that we are choosing is also unrepresentative. I mean, there are so many phases to go. You've seen the first phase. Okay. In the first phase, the real outliers happen to be Bihar, to some extent Uttarakhand. In the others, there has been a drop in polling percentage, but it is not so much as to cause, consternation or astonishment. There has been a drop. So I think we are basically thinking too much on what has happened so far. Let one or two phases more take place, and then we'll have a better picture. To place or to derive any conclusions from this, I think is a bit too much. Secondly, let me come back to a point where Sandeep Ghosh made. Talking about regional parties. If you're talking about regional parties, there are two main regional parties. One with the India Alliance, that is Tejaswi, and the other one happens to be, the major one happens to be in UP, that's Akhilesh. Tejaswi is showing some spirit. He's always shown spirit. But I do not see the same kind of spirit where UP is concerned. And when it comes to Maharashtra, look, Maharashtra would never be a cakewalk. Expect the parties out there, NCP, Congress, and the Shiv Sena UP combined, to give some fight. These things are not going to come easy. But I think so far what I've seen, I don't think there is any reason for me to doubt what the opinion polls have been saying so far, because that would be a super flip. You see, the margin of error does not include a complete flip of results.
Pallavi, the other kind of huge letdown, and could this be impacting voter turnout, is that the Congress base and the India Alliance base has really not seen their potential candidates or their parties in action and on the ground and providing an alternative. So it's almost like a vote for them is a wasted vote. So it could very well be that Congress voters are sitting at home as well.
Yeah, so two quick points. One, look at Western UP. There has been no joint rally between Akhilesh Yadav and Rahul Gandhi, because Congress's calculation is, oh, this is the SP area, why should we even bother to go there? That's not the idea of an alliance. The only thing they did was holding a press conference in Ghaziabad, and where, Akhilesh began by saying Ghaziabad se leke Ghazipur tak. These things don't go down well, because if you're tom-tomming and flaunting a UP ke ladke kind of an alliance, it sends out a very confusing signal to your own cadre, in this case the Congress cadre. They didn't even bother to work. Second, of course, is very quickly I'm going to come back, because see, I don't know this analysis, but I know a lot of people across political parties. The entire apprehension which Prime Minister himself had, and which is why he spoke about 400 par, is because he knew that there are many in his own party and workers were getting complacent. They were thinking, hum aayenge. And doesn't matter. So they were not going out. See, the strength of BJP is their booth workers. They go out, they take their voters out. There was a fear factor that this is what they were not doing. And therefore, he set this huge target for them, that you have to get me 400 par. The flip side is that it can also boomerang, because there are still many who think that, arey, 400 par ho hi to jayega, and Modi and all that. Apart from Modi, there's a sense of complacency also for the fact that Modi can do this for us. And I hear this from many candidates who are not confident that they can win on their own. They say, oh, Modi will manage it for us. We want him to come to our area, campaign for us, and then, we know we're going to win election. These are worrying signs within the BJP, which is why the Prime Minister is now going to work overtime, more and more rallies, and he's going to give lots of interviews, reach out, and so on and so forth. Again, to come back to the Congress point, well, I mean, this phase was not really the Congress phase, barring Tamil Nadu. That is because they are in power. Again, they were riding piggyback on the DMK on this. I mean, the Chidambaram's winning from Shivaganga would have been tough minus the DMK. Pretty much same to other seats as well. Western UP, SP area. So, I mean, Bengal, where is the Congress party? The Kuch Bihar area, they are nowhere. So this is not exactly the Congress area. The challenge will begin now. Next phase is Kerala. That's very important. Other phases will also start taking place, Bengal and by this. But I think, the second phase is something which will really be a test for the Congress. Its ability to come out, campaign, get its workers out.
I just want to make a quick point here, Dvaita, from a communications perspective. When you have such a protracted election phase, you open yourself out to 2 or 3 things. Number one is a lot of miscommunication. Number 2, a lot of rumor mongering, which kind of unsettles voters, it unsettles politicians, it kind of really mucks up everything. The third is it actually creates a false narrative, either of great confidence or of complete, utter disbelief. These are the 3 things that also candidates and voters will need to worry about. That who's spinning what story, we don't know. And it's going to be such a long election. And there'll be more analysts than functioning traffic lights.
Which brings me, Professor, I have to go to Sandeep now, but unless you have a really brief point to make, in which case make it. And then
the point I had to make was what Sandeep tweeted. It reminds me of the UP, the Vidhan Sabha polls in 2022, where after the first 2 phases, you had a former lieutenant governor of Delhi actually giving an interview that it's over for Yogi. And look what that turned out to be.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go to Sandeep now. And quickly, I want to remind everyone, please do like, share, subscribe if you're enjoying this this live. Sandeep, you've been going on about this for, I think, a day or so, wherein you're saying that Pradeep Gupta's poll is something worth discussing. So will you break it down for those of us who've not seen his poll? What exactly are his findings?
See, I will not go for his poll because we don't know the veracity of that poll, whether that poll has been done. The one would suspect that he definitely did some number crunching. But some of his analysis, I think, is worth taking note of. When he's talking about BJP having peaked in certain states, and none of this is, rocket science. So what he's talking is not, what we don't know. So each of these states where BJP has peaked, you look at states you and I know, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. These states, there are a couple of things which has happened. What you're calling not the fatigue factor, but there has been problems with seat allocations. There are infighting, etc. So Rajasthan, I wouldn't be surprised, though BJP won all the seats despite Vasundhara losing the previous assembly elections in 2019. If BJP loses a few seats this time, which people are putting anything between 5 to 10. Similarly, in Madhya Pradesh, although Chhindwara BJP may win, there are other places where there could be some losses. We were talking just now about Maharashtra. Maharashtra, BJP knew there were challenges. That's why they tried to stitch up all these alliances, but that has it cut both ways. So Maharashtra may not give them as the kind of dividends that they were hoping for. So there are these situations. West Bengal people, Prashant Kishore says BJP will improve its tally. We'll have to wait and watch. I wouldn't be so confident. So some of that is true. And also what he is therefore saying about BJP drawing a blank in the south, etc. But the point is, all of us sitting down to analyze, etc. Do you think Modi and Shah have not factored any of these points in? Or even when Pallavi says, I'm not in any way Pallavi undermining you. When you say Modi is going to do more rallies now, let's not think Modi is just realizing and doing. He has also calibrated he knows he has to conserve his energy over these 5 weeks, and he plans where he's going to spend how much time. And a lot of this is
I know I am saying this. I know I am saying this. Last elections also, he increased the number of rallies for a reason. This man reinvents himself every phase. He reinvents himself every phase. They do this, they start increasing the number of rallies. It's not all pre-planned. Trust me on this.
Yeah, so it is all, that's what I'm saying, it's all planned. Whereas the DMK is fighting only a battle in Tamil Nadu, Modi is looking at the entire picture. He's going to see how this entire narrative evolves from when you, by the time you reach UP and the heartland, he's looking at that. I think so. Those things will happen. But my point is, if you're going by analysis, just like if you take the so-called opinion polls with bucket full of salt. Similarly, I don't think we should throw Pradeep Gupta's analysis out of the window for people. But at the same time, I would not get carried away like some of Pallavi's friends, where she herself tweeted to think that, okay, the election is back in their back.
Given the fact that Pradeep Gupta himself has, denied having anything to do with that particular poll, I think we should leave it out there.
Who is Pradeep Gupta?
It's an access guy.
Access guy.
There are more functioning traffic lights, just like there are more mobile journalists than mobile phones.
No, to be fair, he's had a good record. I mean, he does get it wrong sometimes.
He has disowned that particular poll. He has disowned for that particular poll openly, and he said he's going to take action against all those characters who basically tweeted this. So
Sandeep, what are you going on about?
Yeah, that's because the India Front ecosystem tweeted those that poll. So it suits them.
See, all these people play the poll. I'm saying, let's not get into it. All these people are also players. Okay, while one hand he is saying this, but his analysis, he has gone and given an interview to Money Control today. He's given to Barkha, and he's going to other channels. He's doing his interviews. He's come also on India Today, wherein he is saying that no, it's not my poll. I'll sue them, etc. And Rahul Kanwal actually says over there that you have also got your private clients. You may have done something for them, which he dodges. So whether he has done a poll or not is not the point. I am sticking to the overall analysis, which he's on record to have said. You'll find it in his interview with Money Control. You'll find it in his interview today with Barkha, India Today. The overall analysis which he's presenting, just like Prashant Kishore has been presenting an analysis. So there are.
Karnataka BJP will do well.
In 2004, when India Shining as a phrase was stomped on under Pramod Mahajan's leadership by Trikaya Gray at that point in time, the elections were called in May on the incorrect advice of Chandrababu Naidu by Vajpayee. In April, in an issue of Seminar magazine at Baita, I wrote a piece saying, India is only shining in Lutyens' Delhi, because you were making a mockery of the inequality and the impoverishment of a large swath of people outside. My worry is when you try and actually over amplify the good, there's a lot of disconnect with people who are actually feeling the pain. And they believe that the only time they can express themselves is at the hustings. And lastly, a lot of people who tell you who they're going to vote for at times are saying it out of fear or out of conformity. It may not necessarily be the case when they actually do go out and vote.
Yeah. And I think, as always, even the communication, just recently, just something anecdotal, I had someone get an Ayushman card who lives in Delhi, of course, and is eligible for it, but he was not aware that existed. So, I, on my own, I kind of champion Ayushman, so I immediately jump in whenever there's a health problem and say that they get the Ayushman card. But there's some great stuff that the Prime Minister has done and his government has done, which I think has not had that kind of traction that it really needs to have.
Yeah, okay. That and Advaita, another point again, I think Pradeep Gupta himself was making on this interview. While people are talking about unemployment, etc., what must one realize is the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, for them, while you can talk of statistics, for them getting this ration free and suddenly the benefits, amenities which they get at home, that's a game changer. They are not always looking at the statistics over there because they are living from day to day. And so that has happened, and that's where people are quoting those statistics of inflation, unemployment, etc. There may be a disconnect, and that's what I think Modi's focus, the BJP's focus, is still remains that section.
Okay, okay. There's some echo, Sandeep. So if you can mute yourself when you're not speaking, that clears up. Uh, yeah, yeah. Sandeep's muted. Suhel, what about the narrative setting? And one of our viewers has asked you that because narrative plays a big role in elections. So does emotive issues. Both the BJP narrative, of course, is very clear because Prime Minister Modi needs to come back, and there are these reasons for him to come back. What's happening in the world today? I think India needs decisive, strong leadership, and I personally feel Prime Minister Modi really does that for the country at this time. No one else can match him. But Suhail, what is the narrative that the India Alliance has been able to put together in this election after
They,
everything?
they tried, but they failed. Their only
Right.
narrative is that Modi needs to be destroyed because he's authoritarian, it's dictatorial, and democracy is at peril. They have these three things. So they are actually seeking a negative reaction. They are asking Advaita Kala to come out and vote in a democracy by saying democracy is dead. I mean, how stupid can you be? You're telling me, please come out and vote, and then saying, oh, but democracy is dead. This is what you should tweet, Advaita. This is how stupidly illogical the India alliance is. Number one. Number two, some person, Amita Tandon here, one of your viewers, says I'm contradicting myself. Let me repeat what I said in my Times Now Summit speech when I was talking about brand Modi. I said the problem is the BJP is not as adroit as marketing its successes as much as Congress willy nilly markets its failures. And it's very clear because what has happened is the Prime Minister is a communicator par excellence. But please remember, he communicates only in one language. That language, half of India does not speak, understand, or relate to, whether it's the innuendos or the analogies. Therefore, you need more communication clarity in the rest of the country. Number two, no one buys brands, they buy benefits. Advaita Kala doesn't go out and buy Colgate because she loves toothpaste. She buys toothpaste because she loves her teeth and wants white teeth. The benefits of a Modi leadership, as you have expounded just now, Advaita, are only three: continuity, decisiveness, and inspirational leadership. Whether it is in India or outside India, whether it is internal domestic policy or whether it's foreign policy. Narendra Modi has been able to craft a narrative, to quote Pallavi Ghosh, for an India that is future forward and future looking. The India alliance is going back into the past. So the problem is the India alliance is not able to tell you why you must vote for them. They are only telling you why you should not vote for the BJP, which to my mind is a stupid strategic intervention.
Right. Pallavi, I actually feel that, for whatever it was worth, the Congress had a better narrative in 2019 with Nyay and all of that. People didn't buy it. That's true. But this time around, with the whole caste census and all of that, it's just so much negativity around the campaign. How do you think that is being received by the voter on the ground? And how is that being received within the Congress?
Both caste census and electoral bonds, the party internally has a problem with. Not everyone is on the same page, but then this is Rahul Gandhi's favorite topic. In terms of on the ground, wherever I've traveled, and I'm going to be traveling more from next week onwards, I don't think people even understand. First of all, caste census, they are not able to understand what it means, how is it going to change. And that too coming in from Rahul Gandhi. Second thing, as far as electoral bonds are concerned, what people on the ground are saying is, so what, every political party does it. इसमें कोई नई बात क्या है? So these are the 2 points on which the Congress's campaign has gone full on. Today, I don't know if you noticed a new ad they've come out with, where they show a little boy being bullied in a college. He's a fresher. And there are these 4 or 5 boys who are telling him कि हमें तुम्हें चंदा देना पड़ेगा. And then he says, क्यों ये हफ्ता है? बोला हफ्ता है. Then he goes to complain to the principal, and the principal is a kind of very look-alike of Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, and all that. It is not going to resonate on the ground, because I agree with Suhel. A negative campaign doesn't work. People want to know, why should I vote for the Congress party? Give me 2 reasons why you think one should vote for the Congress party. Caste census, many people don't want it. Electoral bonds, they don't think that it's going to make much of a difference. So some of the good points in their own manifesto, they're not talking about, like right to work, jobs. That is something they don't talk
Pallavi,
about. I never heard Priyanka or Rahul Gandhi talk about this in the last 2 days.
one of our viewers mentioned that Priyanka hasn't mentioned the caste census herself. Is that true?
I lost your question.
Pallavi, one of our viewers has pointed out that Priyanka Vadra has not mentioned the caste census herself. Is that true?
Today she did. She did.
Today she
She
did.
she
Okay.
supported her brother when someone asked her. She did support. She said, this is caste census is something which we need. And she said this in Kerala. She was in Kerala today.
Okay.
That was in
Okay. But that
response to a question, right?
yeah.
You see, Congress's assumption is everything you say negative, and they will vote for Congress only because it's the Gandhis. If you see people are talking about Amethi, and if you ask them why should they vote for Rahul Gandhi, he's an absentee, candidate, and even if for an absentee MP, they say no, they will vote for him because he's Gandhi. Now that's the assumption they are still living under. Maybe within Congress that exists, whether for the larger India that is relevant, we don't know.
Yeah, but when journalists also peddle that particular line, and you know what I'm talking about, it becomes pathetic. It becomes pathetic. You see,
So what do we? Yeah.
One of the things, sometimes negative campaigns do work. Okay, I think, especially if there is some kind of a fatigue, then whatever you throw at somebody starts to stick. I don't think we've come to that point vis-a-vis BJP yet, vis-a-vis Narendra Modi yet. That has not yet happened. So what you get from the Congress is basically incoherence. The fight that is being put up, as Sandeep says, is essentially by some of the regional parties who, for them, is an existential battle. If they are out of power even now, then life becomes extremely difficult subsequently. So that's one particular problem. But let me come back to what Suhel said. I remember in 2004, apart from the miscalculations, BJP committed suicide in a couple of states. In Bihar, they did not do an alliance with Ram Vilas Paswan. Over a few seats, it was arrogance at its highest. Ram Vilas Paswan goes over to Sonia Gandhi and Lalu, and Bihar flips. In Tamil Nadu, in 1999, they had tied with a disciplined party, DMK. And then, because Jayalalitha won the assembly elections, they basically ditched the GMK and joined the AIDMK. And in 2004, you saw what happened. They lost all 39 seats. And of course, Chandrababu Naidu also fared very, very badly. I think the India could have come back to power had it not been for the arrogance that they had displayed and the mistakes they had made. And those mistakes were made out of hubris. Okay, I don't see that kind of hubris, or at least mistakes based on that kind of hubris right now. Right now, you have a super flexible party watching developments on the ground all the time and is extremely flexible. We saw that in the 2022 elections. After the first two phases, everybody felt Modi had to join in, and Modi did join in. And when we found out in the first two phases also, BJP had done very, very well. So this is a party which is now completely on its toes, absolutely on its toes, and very flexible. It basically does whatever needs to be done. Its reaction time is
So
very,
that
very fast.
may be all well and good, but then the other factor is also, so if there is sort of a despondency on the part of the India Alliance voters, especially in the northern belt, about not having a viable alternative. On the other hand, there isn't, like you were rightly pointed out, you need something provocative really to be able to. I'm sorry, there's a lot of feedback. I think it's Suhel. I need to mute him. Yeah. That's gone now. So, Professor, the thing is that the drain the swamp moment, that moment that Trump had, that Modi had in 2014, that impression isn't there. That overwhelming impression that this is an awful corrupt system. So drain the swamp, get someone else. Wait, Suhel, just wait, let others speak. Wait, and your feedback is really bad. And Professor, that moment is not there. So there's almost like a comfort equation with the Prime Minister. This can go
Let's
both
be
ways. It can take them to victory, or it can backfire and voters sit at home.
It's been 10 years without any scandal whatsoever being associated with the government in power. So I'm not saying that the swamp has been drained, but just imagine 10 years without any financial scandal of any sort with any minister. You can't, independent India does not get better than this. So while the swamp has not been drained, the overall image of this government, the central government, is one of a clean, strong government. So you see, where is this despondency coming from? I don't see any despondency on the ground, by the way.
I don't think there's
Yes.
despondency. You're getting that's not the right term.
Look,
I
look,
think
look.
yeah. It's not despondency. I think there is a comfort factor and a kind of
There is
like
a
it's going good. It's going good. It's going fine. Let's keep moving. Let's move
Let
on.
me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell
So go
you.
ahead. Yeah.
Let me tell you. There are the following things are happening. Whatever Modi had to do, he's done. So on the one hand, people are saying, "Ab aur kya baki hai? Temple ho gaya, NRC ho gaya, CA, whatever, 370 ho gaya." Modi himself has very little to do. Now he's on what we call maintenance. On maintenance, there's not so much of excitement that you can do. It's all work in progress. The second is there isn't fatigue with Modi. There is fatigue with the fact that now things are fine here. Ab to theek hi chal rahe hain. Now who's going to disrupt us? So we have got into what I call the electoral complacency mode. And electoral complacency mode always harms the incumbent. It never harms the opponent. And the third is that in a situation like this, when you're not sending out messaging that is fresh, that is innovative, and that moves away from the same narrative of, temple, religion, what you eat, what you don't eat, you will be in a bind. So the BJP is today in a bind of its own making, which it needs to extricate itself from.
I don't think so. I don't think it's in a bind. I think there is a certain amount of voter complacency, which has set
Exactly
in.
what I said,
And
complacency.
yeah, so I don't think it's like a bind in terms of temple this and that. These have been significant achievements that it promised in its manifesto and
But
delivered
it's done.
on.
It's
And
done and dusted.
it's important. No, but it's important to highlight that, and what comes ahead. I think the BJP has been able to do that. But yes, there is a complacency, and that's dangerous. And Sandeep, go ahead, please.
No, I think Professor wanted to say something. Listening to us, people will think that BJP is losing. That's not the point which we are saying. We all seem to be taking a very, very pessimistic note.
Not
We
at
have,
all. I think that was back.
no, I'm saying if people listen to us in that kind of way, they might think so. All these factors are there. Therefore, as you see, there are two things. Professor, your question of the scandal is one thing. That's why Congress tries so hard to create that. They tried to do Rafale in 2019, and now, therefore, they're going on an overdrive of electoral bonds. The only thing they can, and some of the statements which, if you see Pallavi's friend Jairam Ramesh making today about Hafta, etc., and all that, and what I haven't seen the new. They're trying very hard to push that. Whether that point sells with the public, I don't know whether that will stick, but that's why the desperation. But the bigger point, which I find everybody is now ratcheting up their thing, is about this democracy bit. I was on a panel with some
Can I?
people, and
Sorry, can I
yeah,
interrupt you 1 second? This electoral bonds issue is not going to work on the ground. And look at the BJP's reaction today. Finance Minister has already gone on to say if they come back to power, they are going to bring electoral bonds back. And I know this for a fact. It's also happening because they've had their round of 1 or 2 consultations. But if they do come back to power, it may not be called electoral bonds, but they're definitely going to come up with another scheme which is going to ensure that there is some kind of a similar kind of a system. Sorry, Sandeep, but I just
no,
have to.
that you said, so that's another point where that was, she must have said, very, very advisedly that point. I saw the Hindustan Times thing, and that's what Jairam Ramesh has reacted and responded to. And I think they have tried to provoke Congress by making that statement. So I'm not questioning that. But the bigger issue, therefore, they're planning is this: everybody is getting very, very vocal. I had two usual suspects on the show who are now talking about this whole thing and even saying that even now the bureaucracy is worried. They think if these two, quote unquote, they come back, they're going to change the constitution, the country will change. Now they're almost making it out as if there is a huge groundswell like there was in 1977, which nobody figured out. That's one part of it coming out. And the second is a very concerted foreign media, global media attack, which is happening today. Somebody has listed all the recent articles across global media, questioning the EVM, questioning this Kejriwal matter, everything there. And I saw somebody else tweet that as long as these elections happen with Kejriwal and Soren behind bars, then the elections are neither complete nor are they fair. Basically saying that even then the crusade will continue. So there is all of that building up in a slightly dangerous manner. And Professor is laughing. Please go ahead.
There is a comment. Is Pallavi doing Zomato deliveries? He disappears at
Funny,
crucial
very
moments to
funny.
deliver parcels.
It's the
That is
best.
my,
It's the best comment of the show.
that was my comment yesterday. Yeah, that all this Pallavi and her friends from ex NDTV, they seem to be doing a TripAdvisor show. Everybody is
I'm
eating in some
touched by I'm
dhaba
touched by
restaurant.
the obsession
Well,
with
I mean,
Suhel, with
considering
Tanvi,
under
with
Modi,
Dipankar and
allegedly the
Sengupta.
media is in dire straits. Our friend Pallavi has to have a moonlight and have another job going. She has to hustle because. But Professor, I really don't think these headlines they've been coming forever. Yes, the intensity has increased, the barrage has increased, keeping in view the fact that elections are around the corner. So, Professor, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference what the
Okay,
Financial Times
I
is saying
agree.
and.
I agree. I agree.
But
You
they're,
see, I
they're making it
remember
out
in
to be that this is
1984.
India's last election.
Go ahead, Pallavi. Pallavi hasn't spoken in a while.
I
Professor,
said
I'll come to
they
you
are,
after
these
that.
people who are writing are making it out to be that this could be India's last election if Modi comes back to power. How ridiculous can we get? Yeah, come on, our democracy is more resilient than that. I mean, surely,
And
I mean, then I don't know. I also
this is when they're hunting for Trump in such a vulgar, vindictive
exactly,
way that is
exactly.
shocked the democratic world. Go ahead,
No,
Professor.
why do we say that India's democracy is so resilient? It's as if, in spite of Modi trying, we still will be a democracy. This, I think, we should not fall into this particular trap. But you remember in 1984, the tragic day, that day when Mrs. Gandhi was tragically assassinated. We all switched off from All India Radio. We were trying to listen to the BBC to figure out what actually was happening. That was the credibility of the BBC then vis-a-vis our media. Today, you have all the foreign press doing their hit jobs on Modi, sometimes with their foreign correspondents, sometimes with local sepoys, sometimes with Indian academicians sitting in, London, New York, what have you. But nobody cares. The foreign press, the credibility of the foreign press, in a sense, has been destroyed. So
Yeah,
that I'm not too worried about that.
worried about.
You
I
know,
agree. I agree. And now we have the other Tokus sister joining us from the car. Just returned, the only Sunday clubber who was voted so far. And so, very
He
important
voted
to
or he
hear.
pretended to vote. I think he just pretended to vote.
Why do you
He voted in
always pick on?
Haryana. Haryana
Why do you
hasn't
always
voted
pick on
on it.
Abhijit?
Yeah,
He,
why are you always bullying
Haryana
me?
hasn't voted,
This is the
Adela.
most vicious homophobic bullying on this program that I have to endure.
Speaking
But
of
Pallavi,
bullying, News 24 put up a
from Jairam
ridiculous
Ramesh,
picture of a young girl who's a topper. And I mean, I can't believe it. They're going to subject her to such bullying. But anyway, Abhijit, go ahead. Uh, Go on. How was the
So
voting experience?
I was actually quite scared because what happened was the last time and the last to last time, I had to wait in line for almost an hour and a half. an hour in 2014 and an hour and a half in 2019. This time I had to wait literally 5 minutes to cast my vote. All right, and the turnout was abysmal. I think you've seen the figures for South Madras. They're like 54% or something like that, right? And there are three ways of interpreting this, which is generally low turnout and everything is up in the air. But because Madras, all of Madras's seats have been DMK bastions, it is the DMK voters who have not turned out, which means it's advantage to the ADMK or BJP, depending on who's a strong candidate. And the third interpretation is ki, just by sheer dumb luck, it's all up in the air. So you could actually have a third party come in the middle of this. Seaman, for example, has been polling very high numbers, and if the fishermen come out to vote for him, well and good. And my constituency has a lot of fisher folk coming and voting. So that was the voting experience. The Something that was very disappointing was the fact that there was no arrangement for senior citizens or for handicapped people, which was very sad because the EC had actually announced all these arrangements, and there were none. And the actual voting went off very, very smoothly. I confirmed in the PAT box or whatever it's called if my vote was correct, because I voted for Tamilisai Soundararajan, who's the former governor of Andhra
Puducherry, wasn't it? Andhra,
and Pondicherry and BJP. So I voted for her, and sure enough, her name came up and the party symbol came up in the VVPAT paper, and it went directly into the box for ballot counting. So I was quite happy with that. I mean, hits and miss here and there. But I was getting a lot of ground reports that, a lot of people, an absolute humongous number of people, had not gotten their names, or they'd been allocated polling booths that were like 2-3 kilometers away and things like that. People from the same house being given, voting slips for different schools in completely different parts of. I mean, not completely different, but about 2-3 kilometers away from each other. Which especially when there was no Ola or Uber running, and everything was shut, it would be quite difficult even getting an auto or something like that to go vote. So, I
right.
think that actually affected the voter percentages, at least in Madras. Now, the other very strange thing that has happened is that the EC went on revising its figure downwards. I don't know how the hell that happens. Because you can revise it upwards, I
Way
guess,
to
for
do it.
last minute voting. But
There's a reason.
downwards, after you announce the figures, then very next day you put out a thing saying 3% less.
Yeah,
And
yeah. There's a
3%
reason
is not a
behind that.
joke.
Suhel, sorry, not Suhel. AIM, what is Soundarya Rajan's chance of winning in South Chennai?
Non-existent. See, Chennai is a completely Christian Muslim dominated area and a caste politics dominated area. There is no chance of the BJP winning. The BJP is counting on 4 seats primarily. One is the one where TTV Dinakaran is, the ADMK breakaway. Shashikala's nephew is contesting Dinakaran. That is one hope. The second hope is OPS, the former Deputy Chief Minister and Chief Minister, who is contesting from some other constituency. The third is Pon Radhakrishnan, who's been a minister at the center and he's contesting from Kanyakumari. And the fourth one is, of course, Annamalai contesting in Coimbatore. And Coimbatore is where the booth management completely failed. Because this government had basically planned to rob him of that seat somehow or the other. So there was all kinds of nonsense that was happening on the ground in Coimbatore that we were hearing about and seeing. And what ended up happening was it wasn't just the DMK trying to screw over Annamalai, it was also the ADMK trying to screw over Annamalai.
Yeah, but you weren't here, AIM, you just landed, but we discussed this, so very brief answer from you before I move on. Annamalai, the question raised was, is Annamalai a media internet sensation, or is he on the ground? Has he made...
No, he's on the ground. He's on the ground because, see, he's also got a very charismatic online personality. But he goes out and he meets every single person on the ground. He knows his troops, right? He also knows his weaknesses and things like that. So that's a good thing. But I think this time there was one unaccounted weakness because the poll booth management staff, the BJP doesn't have enough cadre out here. They had to be brought from outside, and they didn't know all the local tricks of the trade in Coimbatore and how to screw over the booths and things like that.
Okay, and on that note, I think we should call it a wrap. So, Hale, do you want to give us your last words? You just come back from Venice, and
But we'll
in
discuss tomorrow. Thank you.
okay, tomorrow we're going to be starting at 7 p.m. and we have a guest joining us. Suhel, you to introduce us to our guest tomorrow, special guest.
Yes,
Oh,
Justice.
damn.
Justice Kaju is going to be joining us tomorrow. And those of you who have specific questions for Justice Kaju, please tag Suhail and me on those questions. And we'll be sure to ask him tomorrow during the show. You can find us on Twitter, of course.
Can we
And
ask him questions on cuisine, Kashmiri cuisine?
I missed...
I'm curious, whether we can have Rogan Josh with dosa.
No, you can ask him that.
I don't want to trigger him because the last time he was with us, he got kind of upset. So,
Okay.
let's try not to trigger him. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Thank you so much
See
for having
you all
us.
tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
everyone. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. Good night. Go vote.